It began with a scream that no one could forget, a single moment that shattered the silence of a quiet night.
And turned an ordinary college campus into the center of one of the most haunting, unsolved mysteries in America.
Because on December 4th, 1998, in New Haven, a brilliant student from Yale University named Suzanne Jovin
stepped out into the cold night, and within hours, she would be found brutally murdered.
And what makes this case so disturbing isn't just the violence, it's the timeline, the impossibility of it, the way everything happened so fast that even today investigators can't fully explain how someone could have crossed paths with her, attacked her, and disappeared without leaving behind a clear trace. So, stay with me, because as we walk through this case, piece by piece, you'll begin to see why this mystery has haunted investigators for decades, and why the truth might be far more unsettling than anyone expected. Suzanne Jovin was not someone you would expect to become the center of a crime story. She was intelligent,
disciplined, deeply involved in her studies, a senior at Yale majoring in political science.
Welcome to the Case Files. Another week, another missing person. My routine is set. Investigate, document, reveal the truth, and nothing about her behavior suggested risk or danger, which makes what happened that night even more chilling. It means whatever occurred was sudden, unexpected, and completely out of character for her world. Earlier that evening, Suzanne had been working on a campus project. She was seen by multiple people,
going about her usual responsibilities. Nothing unusual, nothing alarming, just another day nearing its end.
Around 9 p.m., she returned a borrowed car, a small but important detail that would later become a key part of the timeline, because from that moment forward, every minute matters. After returning the car, she was last seen near her residence, and then something changed. Somewhere between that point and the next hour,
Suzanne traveled nearly 2 miles across the city, a distance that would normally take time, planning, intention.
But the timeline suggests something much faster, something abrupt, because at approximately 9:55 p.m.,
he was found in a residential area, lying on the ground, critically injured, stabbed multiple times.
And despite efforts to save her, she didn't survive. And just like that, in less than an hour, her life was taken, and a mystery was born. The first question investigators faced was simple. How did she get there? How did she travel such a distance so quickly? Did she walk? Did she run?
Did someone give her a ride? And if someone did, who were they? Because no one reported seeing her with anyone.
No clear witness accounts placed her in a vehicle. No surveillance footage captured her movements. It was as if she had moved through the city unnoticed. And then there's the location itself. The place where she was found was not somewhere she was known to go. It wasn't part of her routine. It wasn't familiar territory, which raises another question. Why was she there? Was she meeting someone? Was she lured? Or was she taken there against her will? Investigators worked quickly,
Canvassing the area, collecting evidence, speaking to anyone who might have seen something. But the answers were limited.
There were no clear signs of a struggle leading up to the attack, no obvious trail pointing back to where it began. And that's where the case becomes even more unsettling, because the details suggested a sudden violence, precise and fast, because it suggests that whoever was responsible didn't act randomly. This wasn't chaotic, it wasn't impulsive, but it was controlled, calculated, as if the attacker knew exactly what they were doing, knew how to approach, how to strike, and how to leave before anyone could intervene. And yet, despite the severity of the crime, despite the location, despite the time, no one reported seeing the attacker, leaving us with nothing but questions. No one came forward with a description that could lead to an arrest, leaving us with nothing but questions.
It was as if the person responsible had simply vanished into the night. And as the investigation deepened,
attention turned to Suzanne's life, her connections, her activities, anything that might provide a clue. And one name quickly became the focus. A professor she had worked with, someone who had interacted with her regularly, someone who at least on the surface, had a connection to her final hours. Investigators looked closely, questioning, analyzing, trying to find a link. But despite years of scrutiny, no charges were ever filed. No evidence strong enough to confirm involvement, and that only added to the mystery. Because if not someone she knew, then who? A stranger.
Someone who happened to cross her path at the worst possible moment. Or someone who had been watching.
The theories surrounding this case are as complex as the timeline itself. I've been waiting. I've chosen the right time to act. One theory suggests that Suzanne arranged to meet someone that night, possibly someone she trusted, which would explain why she moved quickly across the city, why she ended up in a location outside her routine. But if that's true, what went wrong? What turned a meeting into a violent attack? Another theory points to the possibility of a random encounter, that she crossed paths with the wrong person.
Someone dangerous, someone who acted without warning. But this theory struggles to explain the precision, the speed,
The chaos, the unpredictability. When there are no witnesses, everything changes. And yet this case feels controlled, deliberate, and then there's the possibility that the truth lies somewhere in between. I saw that this wasn't entirely random, but not entirely planned either. That circumstances aligned in a way that created an opportunity, and someone took it. And that's perhaps the most unsettling thought of all, because it means the line between safety and danger can be incredibly thin. A matter of minutes, a single decision, a single moment, and everything changes. As years passed, the case remained open.
Investigators revisiting evidence, reanalyzing details, hoping that new technology or new information might finally provide answers.
But so far, the mystery remains. No arrests, no definitive explanation. The timeline is filled with gaps and a story that refuses to fully reveal itself. And that brings us back to the questions that have lingered for decades. How did Suzanne travel so far in such a short time? Who was she with, if anyone? And why was she targeted? Because at the center of this case is not just a crime, but a puzzle.
A sequence of events that doesn't quite fit together. And until those missing pieces are found,
the truth remains just out of reach, hidden somewhere in the details that have yet to be uncovered. And perhaps the most haunting part of all is this. On that cold December night, Suzanne Jovin stepped out into what should have been just another evening, another routine moment in a structured life. But within less than an hour, everything changed. And somewhere between those final sightings
and the place where she was found, something happened. Something that no one saw.
Something that altered the course of her life forever. And until we understand that moment, until we uncover what really happened in that narrow window of time, this case will continue to stand as one of the most chilling, unsolved mysteries. The most unsettling stories aren't the ones with too many answers, but the ones that leave you haunted by the missing pieces. I've studied hundreds of cases, but the ones with none at all